What does the Mississippi River mean to New Orleans?
Opportunity. We are here. We are all here because of the river. And throughout the entire history of our city, the river has meant opportunity to the city. And it's really exciting, having been at the port for 25 years, to see where we're going in the future. I've seen a lot of vessels come up and down this river. Occasionally some barges hit other things in this river. I've seen old vessels come in to act as hotels after hurricanes. And I've certainly seen a lot of people enjoy themselves on the banks of our river.
Since you're speaking from experience, can you share one of those experiences of the river?
Well, sure. You know, I'm from New England, but I came to New Orleans in 1988 to go to Tulane, and I found that the city was not a place I wanted to let go of. And working for the port since 1993, I feel like the river and the people who work on it have kind of become part of my family. And one of the greatest events that I remember occurring here was the Brightfield incident in 1996, I believe. Basically, a vessel lost steerage as it was going under the Mississippi River Bridge right here, and the pilot was able to put that vessel in a spot where there was no loss of life, very few injuries, and I remember people referring to that as a Christmas miracle. And we were pretty lucky then, and I look forward to what we're going to see in the future.
Speaking of the future, where do you see New Orleans after 100 years, or how do you see New Orleans after 100 years?
A lot of people ask me how I would describe the people of New Orleans after Katrina, and it's been an ongoing adjective that I use to describe the city. The people in New Orleans are tenacious. We refuse to let storms dictate what our possibilities can be, and we make the best of sometimes some pretty rough situations. I think, you know, when we came back from Hurricane Katrina and a third of the folks that I work with lost everything, it really puts things into perspective. And seeing those people get back to work, putting their lives back together, putting their families back together was really awe-inspiring, and something that I will remember forever.
Can you describe New Orleans in one word?
Tenacious. If I had to describe New Orleans in one word beyond that, I would say resilient. Again, you know, I live in the Irish Channel, and when I think about folks who put together barges and came down the river 150 years ago to sell their wares on the banks of the Mississippi, taking those barges apart and building their homes to create a neighborhood is something that I've always been very warm to. The neighborhoods in New Orleans, they're all very different, but in their core they have a warmth to them that you don't necessarily see in other cities. And whether you've got a snowball stand in your neighborhood or a sandwich shop or something like that, there's an individuality that I see in this city that I don't see in other U.S. cities. And that's why I chose to put down my roots here, have my kids here, have them educated in the city of New Orleans, and it's really been a satisfying outcome for my family.
It's good to hear. Now, speaking of your individual experience, is there any personal reward for you for working on the river?
Absolutely. You know, I think working on the river and helping people solve their tangible problems to make things happen. I've seen a lot of growth over 25 years that we wouldn't have anticipated. When I started in 1993, it was a pretty exciting idea that Silocaf of New Orleans was going to adaptively reuse an old grain silo. And now that's one of the largest coffee storage facilities on the planet. You know, River City and the gaming boat chapter in New Orleans, you know, it had to come and it had to go. And I think the infrastructure that's been built as a result of that is something that we can use going forward. When I first came to this city, it was the same year as the World's Fair, and those structures are still up and running, and that's where I like to buy my shoes. So, yeah, New Orleans is a great place to live, and even when you travel elsewhere, you're always going to be happy to come home.